Well, you see peripherally there my good friend Dr. Julia Schulenberg. She's a naturopathic doctor. She has a bachelor's of science in nursing, was a nurse for many years, ICU, and then became an ND. I'm sorry, I almost said MD. I'm sorry. Naturopaths, I encourage on my live shows that we tape, you know this, guys, I encourage people, if you've got a medical doctor and you've got a couple extra bucks, always have a naturopathic doctor too. So there, I said it. I want to talk to you a little bit about our genes, our genetic makeup, because I love the way you have taught the people we've sent to you about their genetic makeup and genetics versus something called epigenetics. Teach us.
Well, just to start, I want to say that I'm not a genetic expert, okay? But I do know that epigenetics plays a large role in our genes and how they express themselves. Genetics, when someone comes in with a genetic panel or a genetic test, it tests for less than 30,000 of our genes, but we have more than 100,000 genes in our makeup. So that brought me to the conclusion, rather than me diving headfirst and studying the genetic SNPs and the genetic tests and the panels, I need to study epigenetics. Epigenetics plays a big role because it's everything that has to do with diet, our lifestyle, the foods that we eat, the nutrients that we take in, toxins, chemicals, insecticides, pesticides, toxic heavy metals, our external environment, our internal environment, high frequency, synthetic, man-made, electromagnetic frequencies.
Epigenetics, many factors that control our genetic predisposition to illness and many other things. Epigenetics focus on internal and external environmental factors that affect how our genes express themselves. In other words, Dr. Julia, you are what you eat. You know, I watch my mom and dad have health problems in their later years, and most of us think, that's the hand I'm dealt. That sperm and egg became me, and so I'm going to have those same health problems. But epigenetics says you're not the hand you were dealt. Your dad didn't exercise. You know,
No.
He enjoyed a different lifestyle and diet than mine.
Right. Inherited disease, that it does play a role, but it doesn't mean that we're going to have those same diseases. Okay, because epigenetics would say, yes, you may have a predisposition to some of those diseases, but epigenetics also says, well, if you change your lifestyle, if you change your food that you eat, if you change the thoughts that you think, if you change the belief systems that you believe, then that will play a role in counteracting what hand you think that you were dealt with.
Dr. Susan Love wrote the breast book about breast cancer and so forth. And in that book, I'll quote her, only about 5 to 10% of breast cancer cases are linked to mom or grandma. It's fascinating, folks, because you tend to believe, if you sit down with a lot of doctors, traditional doctors, oh, mom had breast cancer, we want to do a mammogram, every 6 months on you, when in reality, I'm a 95% guy. I'm not a 5% guy. Dad lost a leg to cancer. He had prostate problems. He had a pacemaker. He had all sorts of health problems. But I looked at his lifestyle before he died, and he was sedentary. He enjoyed beer, things that I'm not. And I never knew back when I was younger that my jogging, my races I ran and so forth, my diet would have such an impact on Dad's DNA. Have you had a genetic test? Do you go in and get a blood test or a swab and get your genes tested?
I've had many opportunities to, but I chose not to because it doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is that I'm putting in the right foods in my body. I'm detoxifying my body, my cells of toxic chemicals, insecticides, pesticides, heavy metals, and I have the right belief systems, because that is epigenetics. That is what's changing the expression of any genes that I have. And that's what's, to me, is most important.
See, I'm a conspiracy theorist guy. I worry that if I give some samples, it's going somewhere other than that laboratory. I'm a little bit worried about lending my DNA to anybody. So what you're saying, Dr. Julie, by the way, you can see what she's doing, and it's exciting. Holistic Healing, Holistic Healing, JS, JuliaSchulenberg.com. What I'm hearing is I can change the hand I was dealt by my lifestyle, my diet, and the way my brain thinks.
Absolutely.
Good,
Absolutely.
good information.
Yes. I know that there's been a lot of scientific research about, say, generational parental experiences going into our cells and cellular memory. That's all correct, but we can change all that as well.
And it's called on or upon in medicine.
That is called epigenetics.
Yeah.
And I don't discount cell memory, and I don't discount inherited diseases. I'm not completely discounting genetic testing, but I think there's not too much weight put into that, not enough weight put on epigenetics.
Science. Someday I want you to define science. Which science? The science of 50 years ago? The science of today? Or the science of 50 years from now? Good to be with you. Thank you for that brain. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good. Excellent.